I broke through their circle and ran away from them far into the woods. I found an old log and sat on it for a long time, too angry to cry. I just stared across the fields Papa used to gaze at. "Oh, Papa, I wish you were here," I said, and then I couldn't help but cry. I cried for Papa, and I cried for the quilting mothers who had wasted their time. I was crying so hard I rocked that old log. Then all at once I stopped because I felt something warm and familiar. The feed bag inside my coat made me feel like Papa's arms were around me again. I could almost hear him say, "Mina, people only need people and nothing else. Don't you forget that." I jumped off the log, wiped the tears from my cheeks, and brushed the leaves off my coat. "I won't forget it, Papa," I said, and I headed back to school. When I walked into the schoolroom, Miss Campbell looked up surprised. "Why, Mina," she said, "I was told you ran home sick." Sousie jumped up, her face all red. "That's not true, Miss Campbell," she blurted out. "We lied to you. Mina left because we made fun of her old coat." "I'll tell her, Sousie," I said. "It's not an old coat, it's a new one." "But it's just a bunch of old rags," said Lottie. "It is not just a bunch of old rags," I said. "My coat is full of stories. Stories about everybody here." They all looked at me real puzzled. "Don't you see? These are all your rags." They still seemed puzzled, so I showed them. "Look, Shane, here is that blanket of yours that your mama's sister gave her the night you were born. The midwife said you wouldn't live but 3 days because you were so small, but your mama wrapped you up tight in that blanket and put you in a little box by the wood stove, and your papa kept the fire all night for 3 weeks. Of course you lived all right," I said, looking up at Shane. Shane was big. "And you hung on to that blanket for years until it was nothing but shreds." "My blanket," he whispered. "I thought I'd never see it again." He looked at his old rag like he wanted to touch it. Then the others began discovering their old favorite things and crowded around me. They each wanted a story told, and I remembered every one. I even showed the piece of the woolen jacket Sousie had let her calf wear when it was sick. Lottie's rag was a faded piece from the fancy dress her aunt from New York had sent for her 7th birthday. And Clyde had a scrap from the pants that he always wore when he went fishing with his grandpa. Sousie said, "Mina, I sure am sorry we ever said anything bad about your coat." "Me too," I heard the others murmur. "I wouldn't blame you if you didn't let us touch it," Lottie said. "I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to be our friend at all," said Clyde. "Friends share," I said, and I let them each touch their rag. Then I showed them the feed sack inside my coat and told them how it made me feel my papa's arms again. Shane put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Mina, I bet you got the warmest coat in school." "Well, it took a whole lot of people to make it warm," I told him, and we all laughed. And that's the end. So I do a picture of her at the very end of the book. It's one of my favorite stories. And the reason why I chose this for the week of community helpers is because I wanted to show everyone that anyone can be a community helper. And like the quilting mothers, they all got together to help Mina by quilting her up at that coat. And even though at first the kids made fun of her her rag coat and called it all raggedy and made fun of her, they soon discovered that the coat itself was all of them combined together. It was like the whole community together in one coat, and that kept Mina warm. So it's very touching. It has a lot of special meanings in this story, and I thought it would be perfect for Community Helper Week, that to show that everyone, not just firefighters, doctors, and pediatricians and veterinarians, but that everyone can be a community helper and help out in the community. So what I have here is I have some options, ideas for an activity after reading this story. If you wanted to do an activity to kind of go along with the book and the Community Helper Week, I did one, the rag coat template. This is from, I believe it's from, let's see, Aussie Pumpkin Patch. So this is not something I made. I didn't make this template. I borrowed it from Aussie Pumpkin Patch. I printed it off. And what I've done here is, for each patch, I wrote a word to describe community helpers. And I also describe the quilting mothers, because they were community helpers in their own way. They were community helpers in that they helped Mina by donating her patches to go on her coat. So you could have your students or your kids do this with, like, I did pen first. I wrote it in pen, so it would help me, because I had a glitter pen to go over it with glitter. And I used color pencils. Or if they didn't want to have words on their rag coat and they just wanted to color and design it, my daughter helped me with this, and I think I like it better than the one I did by myself. So this is the one I did by myself. I think I like this one more than the one I did by myself, because she helped out and she did her little drawings in here. And I thought that this would be a great idea for those that they just prefer to use pictures to tell their stories instead of words. So each patch, what I would recommend is have students, for each patch, write on the back or on a separate notebook paper the story behind each patch. Like if they had a special story about a helper, a community helper. Like, let's just say that this is a cat here, and I think that she said it was a puma. So let's say that, you know, they had a story for this patch about a firefighter rescuing a cat from a tree, and they would write it on the back of their template or on a separate notebook paper about the story of the community helper and how that helper pretty much saved the day or helped out. And as I say, each little patch, like, you know, they could have something about these could be flowers, and they could say the story behind this patch is when I went to plant a garden for a neighbor, you know, I helped out. I was a community helper for the day. So it's very special. Either way you do it, with words or pictures, it gives them an option, and kids love options. Also, I'm going to see if I can attach 2 videos. One video is talking about how they do it, coal mining, and the other video is talking about Tennessee coal mining. So that was kind of like, coal mining was a job for community helpers. That was something that was done to help others, especially in the time that this story was written. It was a big thing, a big way to help the economy during this time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Just see below for the templates. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and attach these templates so you can see them, and also the videos as well. Thank you.